Is Andrea starting, Marcus?
We're waiting on you.
We're ready. Go for it.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to another Real Estate Steals, Deals, and Opportunities. And I understand that Nashville will be watching this evening. So a shout out to you guys. Hey, Mark. Hey, Steve. And all the group that come out to support them. And I wish you the best in your career. And hopefully you'll learn a tip or two that you can apply to your business in this webinar today. So today we're going to talk about doing renovations right. And so we'll talk about this. This is one of my pet peeves, and it's also in my book, Exposing the Truth Behind the Lies of Real Estate Investing, because so many investors cut corners and band-aid things and then wonder why they're just not making enough money, or the properties don't sell, or they have these inspection nightmares at the end when they go to sell it to their retail buyer and that type of thing. So a common roadblock to success for many real estate rehabbers is cutting corners or being cheap. You know, I think the biggest problem investor-minded people have is stepping over dollars to save pennies, and it really costs them in the big picture. So we're going to talk about doing renovations right. And this is the same house, believe it or not, before and after. I actually wholesaled this one to a client of mine, and they did an amazing job on this and made quite a good penny. But you see how they just changed the whole look with the right color. They added landscaping, and a lot of people just skimp on the landscaping too. But if we don't have the right curb appeal, we never get the buyer out of the car, you know, or even the renter. So here's a before and after picture as well. So we want to make our renovations unique and more appealing. And we want to spend the extra money, if we're going to spend any extra money, in the kitchen and the master bed and bathroom, because that's where the decision maker is going to spend their time, and that's where they're going to be swayed to buy your house over someone else's. I love to go see brand new construction and see the models, especially if they're in the price range that competes with my home that might be within a mile's radius, you know. So I want to see what is that builder using as far as products and materials, and it's typically, you know, regular Home Depot, Lowe's products that I can find down those aisles. But what is my consumer looking at that might draw them into that house versus mine, or mine versus theirs? So I try to make it look like those homes, and that's kind of my goal. So this is a before and after kitchen shot, and if I were to take the same shot of this kitchen in this left side photo, all you would see there is a wall. I'm really big on opening walls. In fact, my contractor's always wanting to know, wait, we have a bet on which walls you're going to cut down, you know, so tell us. And so I like to open things up because that's the trend. That's the look. People love islands. So I try to give an island or an island concept in a very open feel. The trend now is everything's open when you walk in the house. You can kind of see all the rooms, and maybe you have some other more private rooms, but you know, that's the concept. So I also follow a website called houzz.com, and it's HOUZZ, and always things are what is trending there. You can join that website for free, and you put in your zip code. So you'll see the vendors that work your zip code that are advertising to you to do your renovations or sell you the products and materials. And you can also see what's trending. And so I love staying in tune to that. I don't watch a lot of TV, like the HGTV stuff. I think that's great too, but I'm never on that. So I'm using Houzz. I'm kind of on my phone or my iPad or stuff, okay? So in this particular picture, we took this galley kitchen, as you can see on the right, that's very, very dark. And I want you to notice that over the sink, there is a window, a pass-through window. Now that window is actually opening onto what used to be once upon a time a patio that had been legally enclosed into another very large room. But now I still have this pass-through window open into this room out there. So you still have the psychological look of, oh, well, that's an enclosed patio, and we don't want that look. So if you see on the left, there is no window now over that sink, okay? It is closed off. In fact, To the right of the kitchen there on the picture on the bottom, the renovated picture, where the dining room is located, there was a sliding glass door there that took you out into that room. And if you guys can see down to the left side, to the left of the microwave, that you see kind of a door. Well, that's where you enter that big addition. And that also was a sliding glass door. So we didn't need two separate locations. In fact, I actually added another bedroom and a family room out there. And so we closed off the sliding glass door that you would see now a wall in this dining room area. And now we have a formal dining room. We have this open kitchen with additional seating off of this island bar. And our kitchen even extends, as you can see on the left side here in the old former picture. See how far back the kitchen goes? We still have an eat-in kitchen area back there. And then you'll see that door opens up and goes into a laundry room. So we had a lot of space and a lot of ability to really make this place pop. So now when people walk in, boom, and then you put it on the market and they sell in the first week. And that's what I like to do. I also stage my renovations. I think it depends. If the rooms look small, I definitely stage. I had a 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on the market. My stager was behind, but I didn't wait on my stager. I put it on the market. It went on the market on a Wednesday. Okay. My stager didn't come till the following Wednesday. I had a ton of realtors come through with their buyers that first week, and that whole first weekend, not one offer. So I was like, whoa, and now I'm going, did I make a mistake? Well, my stager came the following Wednesday, and I had full price offers the following weekend. And so it was amazing to me that once people could visualize their furniture fitting in what appeared to be a small space, they were all over it because, hey, my furniture fits here. It wasn't even a question anymore. So you can take away those objections with staging. I love to do that because, as you can see, it looks like that model home that my buyers are visiting right before or on the weekend when they're dreaming, but they can't necessarily afford that home or wait for that home. And they come in and see something that looks like that model home and they're sold. So that's one of our things that we do. So, again, look at what's trending, try to create the illusion of space. Sometimes, guys, it truly is just an illusion of space. You didn't add more space. You just made it look like you did. And like I said, staging always helps. So even though I have the property sold, just as a tip to you, I keep the furniture in there until the appraisal is done. I have found that my appraisals are much easier to get when that furniture is still in there because it still appeals to that appraiser as well. And it has the illusion of bigger space and nicer spaces to them as well. And that's where I really needed to count, right? So now in this particular picture, this is the same exact kitchen from a different angle. Again, because if I took it from the same angle as you see in the renovated photo, you would see a wall there because we took down all of that wall space. So now if you guys see in the right side before photo, see where the sink is? And you see where the sink is in my renovated photo because you can see the faucet. All right. So this is how far we went to take down that whole wall that wrapped around. So this was a condo. And when you walked in the condo, you literally walked into a hallway. And then you went through a door, and that was your kitchen on the left that was completely closed in, which is your picture on the right here. So your kitchen was completely closed in. And so you felt small. Your space was small. And you would walk through the hallway to get to your living and dining room. So by taking it down, guys, you see on the left, and now we have a bar there, you walk in and the illusion of the space is wide open now. Your kitchen's exposed. You can have people sitting there. You can converse with who's ever in the living room and the dining room. You can see all the way out to the pool and the lake outside and, through the sliding glass doors. And so you just changed the complete look of the space. And when my buyers are looking at other condos in the area, even if they've been renovated in that building, that wall is still up. So of course mine is going to sell quickly. And then the staging just, takes it to the next level. I also, if you look at the after photo here, there was a huge pantry that I narrowed down with additional cabinets there. And I put the washer dryer in a stackable closet. So that also made my kitchen look larger. And anyway, this is the finished product of what we did with this space. So like I said, do you need to take walls down and do these things? No, I enjoy doing it. I love the after effect. And where I get paid is that my home sells quickly. I am off the market right away because I have multiple offers. All right. So another thing that investors fail to do is actually use licensed contractors and obtain permits. I'm big on doing this because I want somebody to fall back on when the renovation is not done right, it doesn't go right, the guy disappears. You have no recourse, guys, when you don't pull permits. When you don't go through the proper channels, good luck trying to get your money back or being able to pursue someone who didn't do you right, okay? It's just not going to happen. But when you go through the proper channels, you pull permits, you are holding people accountable, and they have to perform to the level that is acceptable in the municipality, okay? So I like to use licensed contractors and pull permits to make sure the work is done right. Buyers will pay for that extra peace of mind. And again, cutting corners costs you in the long run. So you can have handymen or unlicensed people do your work. You have no recourse. And when things don't go right, you're firing them and bringing in another guy. So your timelines and your budgets are going over because you just keep cutting corners. And so I just found that even if I pay more for a contractor, I am making up for it because my job is done on time and my budget is usually right on. Oh, well, it's better on than it used to be. Okay. There's always things that we open up walls and we find out we've got to fix. But I have a method for doing that as well where I'm able to get into that still keep me on budget. So now in this particular picture, the before photo, as you can see, looks like a galley kitchen. This was just bizarre to me, this kitchen. This kitchen was huge, and there was so much wasted space. And so you can see in the after photo, we made use of underneath the window space and everything by putting in an L kitchen and then an island rather than this long bar that came out. So let me tell you how we had to accomplish this. So if you see in the after photo, there is a sink now, where the sink was kind of on this jutted out island in the before picture. It's now under that window. Now, if you guys look in the before picture, you can see that our window was so low, it just wasn't built right, that they couldn't have a counter underneath that window. It wasn't built right. So we actually had to replace that window to raise the level. And then when I did that, I added the window that you see to the left of the stove in the after picture and I put a granite ledge there because that was out onto the deck. There was a gorgeous deck patio that was all screened in. So if people are going to grill out there or have a jacuzzi, they would have to walk all the way into the house, through the kitchen to grab anything that they missed. And you know how that would be practically thinking. So I think more practically, if I was living there, I'd want to pass through a window and I could pass in and out, whatever, to whoever's barbecuing and pass some drinks, whatever it would be. And so we added that window as well. And again, changing the dynamic of your kitchen, making it practical, giving the buyers no excuse or something they might have to do after. Okay, so then we were able to add the island. Now, I have a great island tip because people always say, no, we're not going to do an island. It costs way too much money, because to have your island to code, you have to run electric to your island because they don't want people, in addition to many things, but if you don't have electric on your island and you have like tabletop appliances on it, countertop appliances, then your cord is running across, okay, and it makes a risk. So in order to avoid that issue of having to dig up underneath to run more wiring you could always run a column and bring it in through the ceiling. And that's what a lot of people do. You can do that as well. My islands are not stationary. They are not permanent. So in fact, we tile the whole thing. We build the island with the cabinets and we put on the same granite slab. That island can be moved against the wall and pushed around any way that the new buyer wants to use it. And by being able to make my island portable, I do not have to meet those code things that can cost you thousands of dollars more. So keep that in mind. Okay, and so that way, when space permits, I can put an island everywhere I want, and now I look like that new home, I look like what's trending, and I don't look like the neighbors. So we changed the whole look of this kitchen with just those few things. And yes, I spent a little more to replace the windows, but I got a kitchen that is modern and trending, and of course the house sells right away. Okay, so the other thing, when I say buyers will pay for the extra peace of mind, when I advertise my homes for sale, I advertise permitted work, permitted windows, permitted this, permitted electric, permitted AC. So I use that word permitted like crazy in there because I want my listing always to be different than my competitors. My competitors are not pulling permits. So you might get a brand new AC, but it doesn't say that it's permitted. You might have brand new electrical, but it doesn't say permitted. So whether there's a permitted or not, I put that word in, permitted, permitted, permitted. And I put it in my flyers in the home, and I use that word as a plant to make my buyers think, well, I wonder if that was permitted over there. I'd way rather be with the permitted stuff, you know? So it works to my advantage. So I just tell you, if you're going to permit anything, advertise it. All right, so luxury renovations are no different in concept. And in fact, in luxury renovations, you better spend the extra money because your buyers know better. Your buyers know what's trending. Your buyers know what they want, and they know brand names. And so you don't want to cut corners in a luxury renovation. This is the before and after photo of a luxury renovation that we oversaw. And there's not one thing that really was kept in this home. Even the landscaping, as you can see, it's on a 3/4 of an acre lot, but in the before picture, you can't even really get a good look at the home. And so we eliminated all of those huge bushes or whatever you want to call them, and we accented the trees like this. And so it really opened the home up. We changed out all of the window openings. We changed out the roof. And now where we cut corners is to take, I wouldn't say cut corners, but where we save money is to take old looks that aren't trending anymore and eliminating them and bringing them into a new look. And you'll be surprised how much money you save to be able to do something like that. In this picture, you might be able to tell in the before picture, you can see a couple of skylights over that front door area up on the roof. Well, skylights, especially if they're impact, are very expensive and take a long time to get. So we eliminate skylights whenever we renovate a home. They're not the trend any longer. They're, in fact, more of a risk because of hurricanes and things like that. So in a home like this that already had so much lighting, we didn't even need them. So in the after, nobody even knows there was a skylight. So you're not, it's not like you need to go, oh, when we remove the skylights, it's not even a conversation any longer. Okay. In the kitchen, in luxury renovations, you don't skimp on appliances. So, you've got a $12,000 refrigerator here alone, not to mention double oven. The ice machine is a must, depending on the price range you're going into, an under-the-counter microwave, the gas cooktop. A lot of people in the higher price range renovation do not want to cook on electric. They want a chef's kitchen, whether they are cooking like a chef or they hire one. And so the double island look is trending. And so that's what we went for. And you can see that in this old kitchen, and in that era, I'm sure that was, amazing. And that's even a sub-zero refrigerator in that kitchen. And it wasn't that old. So when I went in to do this renovation, I said, I want to salvage that refrigerator because everybody loves having a second fridge. And I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to salvage these cabinets. We're going to sand them and paint them white. I'm going to do a white laundry room with a sub-zero refrigerator in it. I don't know if I have a picture of that, but that bonus refrigerator is, wonderful. So now here's another place where we took from the old and it paid for the new. So this is the master bedroom. I mean, that is a California king size bed that, that's how big the room is. You can't even tell that the bed is that big. But you see in the before picture to the right, we have this 10 by 10 patio in the master that I think is completely unnecessary. It actually takes away the center of my room so that one wall doesn't match the other wall. So the opposite wall you can't see is where you'd be putting your flat screen TV. You'd be centering that, but then your bed would be off center on the other side. It doesn't make sense from a decorator's point of view. And so to remove both of those sliders and push the wall out behind it and end up with one slider pays for, in other words, I would have had to have replaced 2 impact sliders, whereas now I only replace 1 because of the way I did it. So the savings more than paid for that renovation right there. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. You can take out something old that's no longer a trend and it actually pays for the new look, which is much better than the old look. I also went modern on this property. So in kind of brush nickel was our color scheme, along with the modern looks of the dark wood and white and dark. And so if you notice, there are square light covers in all the hi-hats in the after, and those are in brushed nickel. We had to locate those and order those. And so we kept with that look throughout. It was a very square look. We also furnished this home. This is not staged. It was sold furnished. And so here we have a dining room that was probably really amazing in its day. But what's trending now is double chandeliers. And these chandeliers weighed $450 a piece. We had to brace them in the ceiling. They are 5 layers of crystals, and they're amazing. And they blow you away in person. And so what we did is we took out these beams over the dining room that make it feel small. And as soon as they were gone, imagine the extra space illusion, because your ceilings are about 22 feet high there. And so there was also, you can't see it here, but there was some separations, like these floor planter things that are no longer trending and things like that we removed. Everything is brand new impact glass and electronic shades. You can't even see them in the pictures. I love it, but there's a small valance over all the windows, and these electronic shades, you have a remote control and they just suck up into the valance. And when they're open, you don't even know you have shades. So really, really cool thing here. And over to the left of the after of the dining room, you see these wine fridge. That's 2 separate wine fridges, one for white, one for red. And that is off of a guest bathroom that had a huge shower. Well, we eliminated the shower to add this wine storage, if you will, but chilled wine storage. And that was about $12,000 to do, but it would have cost us a few $1,000s to renovate a shower off the kitchen that was unnecessary. Okay, so again, we take what's trending. And so we did the same thing with this movie room, media room. Those are no longer trending to have a media room. What's trending is a home office. And so we had the custom built library put in, and in my own home we can never reach the top shelf. What are you going to do, get a ladder from the garage and all these things? So I said, well, this would be really cool to have the rolling ladder. So all of that was built custom. We put a smart system into this home, and the brain of it is in the middle below. This room has a surround sound. It has blackout electronic shades, so you can come in here, watch movies, or come in here to your home office. And the floors, we didn't want to go with wood. They're high upkeep. They get damaged easily. So we went with a wood look porcelain that was very wide planks, and that's trending as well. And so the look it came out amazing. I love this house. I would definitely move there, live there if I could. And here you get another angle. We completely changed the railings of all the stairs from wood to glass. Again, I told you we went with a modern rustic look. So glass is very trending. It lets the light through, and you just have this illusion of huge. The total square foot of this property was 7,500. And so you come in and you just have this grand opening. We actually changed the stairway completely to give it this different look here. And the tiles that you see on the floor here are limestone, and they're 3 by 3. You have to take 2 people to lay one tile. So that was costly. But what I'm talking about here is the high-end finishes. When buyers in this price range come through, they want to know, where did this stuff come from? Because if I see it on Home Depot's aisle, I don't even want this house. And so everything's custom, and ordered. And I'll tell you what, I ordered all my bathroom vanities except for one off of this House website. And I got incredible pricing on them because we did modern vanities. Now these in the master, you always want to custom make. Like I say, spend the money in the kitchen and the master. So everything in the kitchen and the master were custom. You wouldn't find these anywhere to purchase them online. So we custom made everything in the master. We took out, the old jacuzzi tub there, and we replaced it with a soaking tub. We extended the shower, made the shower much bigger, and did the things here that again are trending. Okay. Oh, you know what? That's a good spot. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can. But in the before picture over the shower, it was all skylight across the bathroom. So it was going to be thousands and thousands of dollars to replace those skylights with impact glass. It's completely unnecessary because, again, your whole wall is glass. So we, you can see in the after picture, we closed it all up. It's still just as bright. No one would even know. And it's, paid for your bathroom renovation to do it that way. This is the second level, and it was all carpet before, and we changed that out to, again, the porcelain. The ceilings were cedar. We actually stained them to a darker color to go with the look rather than having to replace that. So when you have a 2-story house and your master is on the first floor, which is what they like, just so you know, they want a first floor master, then your second floor is where you can save all the money. Okay, so spend your money on the floor that matters. If they need to be buying your house before they ever go upstairs, if they have to go to the second floor to decide they want your house, you lost the sale. And so this is our look in the back. And if you notice, we took out both of the planter beds on both sides of the pool, and you don't need them. They obstruct views and they make a mess in your pool. And we added a water wall. I don't think I have an after picture of the other side of this pool, but there's actually a waterfall coming out of that little wall you see up on the left side. So when you are coming out of the back of the house, you see the waterfall coming out of this linear waterfall. The pool's completely redone. Fortunately for us, we wanted to go with the modern. We had all modern lines on this pool, and so it was able to keep all the square. We did travertine tile out back, and we did pavers out front. And so we were able to save a lot of money by putting just the travertine in the back where people would be spending their time entertaining. And then you can see the roof is replaced, and the awnings are no longer awnings. We have, these pergola type look there. And anyway, it's a lot of fun to do a renovation like that. And it's a lot of planning to stay on budget. And we must have spent 4 months in planning, but then our renovation was done in half the time. But there was so much work put into the planning to pre-order things. And, when you're doing custom, you have to have a long leeway time, like even as much as 6 weeks for your order of products to come in. And there can be a lot of delays in that. So you kind of got to know what you want from the very beginning to stay on budget and stay on your timeline. And I'll give you a tip, down here, it happens a lot. I don't know if other places, but we cannot do construction in season in most areas and communities in South Florida, because season is when people are coming and living in the home. So our season is like November to February. So we have a long period of time where we can do no exterior renovations. And so you want to factor that into your purchase date and the time frame that you have for renovations. And so otherwise you're sitting on a house you can't even touch. So guys, I hope you learned some tips on renovation, especially taking it up a notch to a new level. And I hope that you're able to apply this to your business. If you are interested in investing in South Florida real estate, or you want to get on my email list to see what opportunities you can purchase down here, here is my contact information, and I look forward to working with you. And if you enjoyed what you learned about doing renovations right, then we invite you to learnfromgreen.com, where there is always great teachers, great topics about real estate investing and other amazing information via live interactive video conference classes. We are firm believers that when you increase your knowledge, your income follows. So thanks for tuning in today.
All right. Hey, Andre, you there?
Yes, I was muted.
So, obviously Sharon's not with us. We just had a quick question.
Sure.
Actually, well, there are a couple of quick questions. She said that she does not do any exterior work from November to February.
Well, in some of those communities, they won't allow it.
They don't allow it.
In the gated communities, because of the look, they don't want to have a dumpster out in the yard and such like that. So
the season is the winter, November to February.
Yeah, it's when the snowbirds come down here.
That's interesting. So,
yeah. And by the way, the traffic suddenly looks a lot more like Nashville in that period of the year. We're happy to see them come for the revenue that they bring, but we're also very pleased to see them move back to, you can actually get somewhere without having to fight through traffic.
I actually read something that West Palm's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, although I'll tell you what, as you go south to Miami, turn signals are optional. I'm convinced that there are monkeys and other animals that are given driver's licenses.
Yeah.
I've literally seen people go 5 lanes over with no turn signal. And why would you?
No. We were in Miami, and
Oh yeah.
It's odd having lived at the beach in Maryland to see like homeless people on the beach. I'm not used to that, but I mean I still love Florida, but it's a little different kind of feel down there when you get to Miami. So
it is. I mean, we're right across. If you to my right, there's the Intercoastal. Literally outside Lanai is a short softball throw to the water.
yeah.
And I can see Singer Island. And Singer Island, it's nothing to see Lamborghinis and, Maseratis and that sort of thing. And then you also have homeless people.
Yeah.
It's like Washington, D.C., where you have great wealth and great poverty, and they're living right next to each other.
Well, Washington, D.C. didn't used to be quite as wealthy, but it's gotten wealthier. But you and I pay for that. So.
Indeed.
Yeah, we pay for K Street, so, and all the money that flows through there. So yeah, it was a good conversation. We were actually kind of content to sit here and have a property discussion about all of our stuff that's going on.
Cool.
But that was yeah, it was interesting. They're obviously, Sharon is an experienced renovator. The stuff that she was talking about today, there's some decor choices that are not for the newbie. You really have to kind of, that's a little higher level stuff.
I can tell you a good thing as far as, because we had a condo in downtown Nashville, and it was a very small space, and we had a big house out in Brentwood that would not sell, and so we hired professional stagers to come into that home, and it was worth it because once we had it staged, Waller Road, yes, once we had it staged, it sold.
We were. This is before we were partnering on deals.
Yeah.
Because of Green, we were bidding against each other on Waller.
Yeah.
And I stopped. I was willing to go up to 370, but I knew we were going to run each other up, so I stopped at 310 and I let Les get it. So.
It's probably wise, because it's hard to sell a house with a roof that comes down the side. Nobody wants it. But what I was going to say is that house sold, and it did so well once we staged it. We had this little bitty tiny condo, and it was maybe only 750 square feet on the riverfront. Been on the market for a while. Nobody would bid on it. So I said to Les, let's do this. Let's stage it. So what we did.
Riverfront condos?
Yes.
Mark used to.
So what we did is economically, because Les and I are very economical, we went to Rent-A-Center. And you can go to Rent-A-Center, and they do this for some investors, and it makes a lot of sense. They will come and you can get, and they'll bring it and they'll haul it away. And
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, and so what we did is we got we had a bedroom that we'd gotten out of another house, but we furnished the whole living room, and then I brought in stuff that I've collected and kind of decorated around, and we were only paying, how much we paid them, what?
$149.
$149.
That is money well spent, in my opinion, I would say.
And I want you to know, once we staged that little bitty place, people quit looking at all the flaws in the floor because they couldn't see them. And that house.
Did you guys have the bamboo floors?
No.
Yeah, they had some of those renovations were done with bamboo. It gets mucked up easily.
Well, no, these were like, what was
Well,
that?
they're probably about 8 years old, the ones we did.
Yeah, and it had been used as a
Mark
rental.
had the ones. We didn't buy the center. We had the ones by the pools.
We had 2 of them.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
But just because, so that would help for new investors to know that you don't necessarily, if you have a wife or if you have an eye for color, you can actually go to Rent-A-Center, and for very little money, you can pick out a living room, and it'll come complete, coffee tables, lounge. They got a price list for how much they'll charge you a month. They'll come, they'll bring it, and you sign this little thing, and when your house sells, after you close, you just let them know a week ahead of time. They'll come, they'll pick it up for free, and take it away.
You'll put your, like toiletries and stuff like that, like napkin or like towels and that kind of stuff. You do that yourself.
I do that, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I have a whole collection of pictures and little odds and end stuff. But just to stage it and have someone bring in furniture.
That's cheap.
No, I think that's really smart. I really do. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, I thought one of the tips she gave was really kind of interesting. I wanted to see your reaction to it. Is she said about leaving the staging through the appraisal. I thought that was a slick move, because she said she's basically recognizing that the appraiser is a human being too. Yeah. And they need to see it at its best.
We do it just because the deal could still fall through, so we don't have the furniture or none of that stuff pulled until after it's closed.
Right.
Oh wow!
Because anything can happen. People can walk away from the closing table.
Sure.
I don't think anybody here would spend $12,000 for a refrigerator, but I think she mentioned that. I think she mentioned that she inherited that with the property, and we have purchased properties before that have had Sub-Zero refrigerators.
Yeah. That she did. That was with the property. I remember. What struck me was the one house where they had they needed apparently two refrigerators to chill the wine. I'm thinking, first of all, there's a lot of red wine that really doesn't need to get chilled. You know? And I'm thinking, so basically you're chilling, a small, I guess they wouldn't chill it very cold. I mean, they would keep it at a certain temperature, but I mean, you are seriously a wine connoisseur if you have to have two refrigerators.
You'd be surprised
one for red and one for white.
She's right. You'd be surprised that when you go into rather expensive homes, there's a lot of stuff that comes from Lowe's and Home Depot.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
I mean, it depends on where you live. Like in Williamson County, just south of Nashville, you can be in $1 million neighborhood, and it's kind of like, it's kind of like being outside of DC. You could be in a McMansion where it's just production quality stuff, and it's not. I mean, you might not even have sand and finished floors. You might have like 3/8 of an inch glue down floors on some. I mean, it's literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could have like Hollywood brass on your light fixtures.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these houses could be like 80s decor, but it's just because the neighborhood has gone up so much.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get the same thing. Now, in Florida,
having taken the class with Paul, I just want to live in a house that Paul did.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
yeah, but I'll tell you.
I trust him. I know he'd do a good job.
The materials, a lot of times, I mean, there's a look. I mean, materials aren't always that expensive.
No.
Look good.
Right.
Paul says that all the time in his class, is that, there are different ways you can get really good materials to work with, and you can get them at and he's big about the relationships. I mean, you hang out with Paul. He's always about talking about knowing the people that sell it and doing the repeat business, and you get a better price as a result and all that.
Almost every house that Paul does is going to have hollow core doors. I mean, that's one thing that you can look at when you look at, really, in my opinion, where a house steps up to a next level house. And I can honestly tell you, most of the houses that could be in Williamson County, 700,000 or 800,000, might still have hollow core doors, as opposed to like solid wood doors. So I mean, most of the houses Paul does are in that sort of starter range. Now he still does some, but he's a volume guy. Mm-hmm. And it's what's going to come at you. He's not afraid to do $1 million house. You just don't have that many that are presented to you. Mm-hmm. And so he does stuff, there's a certain look that will sell at a certain price range. But, I mean, they're going to spend, most of their houses they're going to be able to do with, 60, 70 cent a square foot tile. I mean, it's just cheap stuff. Pictures are going to be inexpensive, but they learn how to sort of tweak some of the peripherals to make them look good. So, but that's renovations. I mean, it's not skipping on quality by any means.
Does that lady, is she the one who's doing the renovation? Is it her and her husband, or?
Her and her husband work together, and they have regular contractors that they do, but she's done it. Like, she has a very interesting backstory. Sharon got married to her high school sweetheart, and that was always his dream, is to turn houses and that sort of thing. And that was something that was unheard of in their family, is to do something bold like that and risky. And they got married. They decided they were going to do this. And by the time she was 25, he died in a tragic accident, her husband. And she was really faced with, what would she do? What was she going to do? Was kind of a turning point. And she opted to decide to do the fix and flips and the renovations in his honor, to kind of pursue his dream, and eventually, I mean, she did that, and she had a lady that she partnered with that did a lot of amazing work, and eventually she met Juan, the gentleman that she's married to now, Sharon Restrepo, and he's a great guy. It was actually kind of funny. I tease him because Juan was actually one of her students, because she started teaching. She has her background in terms of teaching. She's traveled all over the country. She's written books. I can't remember how many books, but multiple books. And
we tried to figure out, we thought she said she wholesaled the first house to somebody, but we didn't know if we skipped over one, like she renovated the second house. Did we miss something there?
I know that she does a lot of wholesaling. She loves wholesaling. That's one of the things she likes to do.
Does she help, like, if she wholesales to someone, does she actually work with them on the renovation for some?
She can, because that's part of, they're kind of a soup to nuts type of organization. They do property management on top of everything else.
Could have, like, guided a student a bit through the.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that they offer is for investors is you can buy a property through her, and then they'll renovate it for you, and they'll property manage it for you.
Yeah.
So they really can do a lot. I mean, they can provide you with show you the deals, help you nail down the deal, renovate it, and get people in there and start renting it. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It's an active process. People, sometimes you want to hire it out. It's not easy to find someone that can take it start to finish. You gotta actively participate, and it's not always easy. No. You might find one person to do this and one person to do that. You got to beat down a price here, and you got to find the next contractor for this. This guy does bad work, or this guy does good work, and you try to assimilate all of it. It's just, it just requires energy.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Both her and Juan seem to have that in spades. They have a lot of energy, and she's been doing it for, I think, around 20 some years now.
A lot of the problem with this business is, she mentioned people cutting corners. Mm-hmm. Just like anything, you're not. It's an easy business to make money in, but a lot of times people just don't want to put in the heavy lifting, the work that they need to do. They expect it to get done. They don't pay attention. They get lazy. And then all of a sudden the job can swallow them. They don't attack the problems that need to get knocked out. Yeah. Just the little things. I mean, it's just a really active game. We've got properties on our plate, and every once in a while they're not pretty. And so you got to sell them. We were talking about one we bought. We would have liked to have picked up more. We picked it up at auction for $153,000. And we kind of threw it out there as a wholesale for $225, and no one bid. Mm-hmm. And we're all looking at each other. We're like, man, this thing's a big dog turd. And so we just we got a really fast 180 offer on the market. We said, yeah, we'll take that. It's not, everyone's happy now. We've got people willing to pay us $200 that are kind of backing that up, but there's you can't just sit around and look at this stuff. Somebody's got to pick something up and get it moving. She mentioned something that I'm very sensitive to, and it's time. Speed kills in this game.
Yeah.
It slaughters you in this game. You have to turn stuff quickly. I mean, I can tell you, Les is sitting here. This guy's got millions of dollars out there right now, and he's sitting there, and now we're actually, all of us are kind of like, we're looking at property, like, how are we going to turn this? Literally, nothing's going to lose money, but it's your money's got to come back so you can keep the game going.
Right.
And jump into the next deal and not be stuck. That's another thing. You've got to be ready for the opportunity that's going to hit you when that next deal comes along, because
that is something that Paul has been talking about in his classes in the last several sessions, really about, like he was talking about the curb appeal. His lecture on curb appeal was really cool because he was talking about he is willing to go to if the next door neighbor, for example, doesn't mow his lawn or his house is a mess, he will go over there, make friends with the guy, mow the guy's lawn, keep mowing the guy's lawn, power wash the house, paint if need be. He's willing to do that, spend that money, and he says, I will spend that money because I will get it back on the quick turn of get this house sold. Sitting on this house is going to cost me a lot more than the few $100s that I spent.
Paul's been through the grinder. Yeah. He used to have a guy that worked for him that would get his renovations done extremely, inexpensively, but then would leave details unfinished. And that wound up costing him tons in the end. The guy would go through it and just fix stuff for next to nothing, but then just buttoning it up at the end, Paul, he would just get strung out, and he'll tell you the story. I mean, it's
he's not shy about it. He talks about he's still learning. He said, I make mistakes still, I think that's got to be one of the hardest types of real estate to do is these fix and flips, simply because there's so many moving pieces and the vigilance that it requires, and the people that you have working for a project like in his case where he's doing multiple houses, the project managers have to be on their P's and Q's.
Well, here's another thing John just mentioned. It's actually very relevant. He said punch lists are a big thing. Mm-hmm. I almost always, if I've got the buyer on the hook and we go to the closing table, almost always, if it's not costing me an arm and a leg, I don't fight the punch list. I roll out the red carpet. We're going to knock this out. Now, having said that, every once in a while you have irrationality that you have to deal with. And Larry and I had one last month where the inspector said we need to service the air conditioning. The air conditioning was brand new. So I had to tell the agent, your inspector respectfully is an idiot. And so now they're telling us that there's electrical stuff. And I said, look, we're not doing this electrical stuff. Now, what I will do is we will have an electrician out there, and I'll let you choose that electrician just to prove to you that this electrical stuff doesn't need to be done, and we'll fix what that electrician says needs to be fixed. In other words, the home inspector is a generalist. So I had to, it was odd because you get a buyer sometimes, they get a little bit tweaked. Mm-hmm. And generally we like to roll out that red carpet to buyers. We just knock out the punch list. It's a time game. Yeah. I mean, we're doing this anyway, but in this particular situation, I'm dealing with, I shouldn't say an idiot. It's not necessarily a fair characterization, but when I've got a brand new AC unit and I get a home inspector that tells me I need to service the AC, you draw your own conclusions. Yeah. So then in the same breath, there's this stuff that's electrical that's wrong. We know it's not wrong. And so we had to try to correct that situation, still maintain this posture of rolling out the red carpet, but try to maintain some control also, keep the deal alive with a first-time buyer who's a little tweaked,
Sure.
And so it gets a little complicated sometimes, but yeah,
A
no.
lot of diplomacy. That was one thing that I've definitely gotten out of with Paul is how much diplomacy is involved in it. You got to be able to negotiate with people.
What Sharon was doing on that particular house was definitely what I would call a high-end project.
Oh yeah.
It's not for.
I guarantee you, I don't think that that's their primary stuff based on the other properties that they've shown me. Some of the ones I told her, I said, I need therapy after I've seen some of these houses.
I know that projects like that can swallow people that don't know what they're doing. So I'd be very. And she'll tell me the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Walking side by side with someone you trust that's got the contacts and the experience. Yep. You don't jump into anything like that. Mm-hmm. Or you know it yourself. You might be in the construction trades and you've got all the contacts, but sometimes it's not even the construction side. Some people just don't have the artistic vision to do that stuff and have no place even messing with it. You got guys that know construction that don't need to be renovated $1 million house. That's just, and then quite frankly, you'll see some people that just have the artistic talent. They have that sort of the eye of an interior decorator, and that's
Eva's friend Wayne Hilton, who we had speak, is specialist in that area. I don't know if you remember.
Eva's friend.
Wayne actually teaches fix and flippers, the trending styles and that sort of thing. It's very interesting to have people that have that kind of talent.
There's one thing that makes a whole lot of difference in this too. I used to do this, it helped. After you sold the house, don't forget it. Go back about a month later. Talk to people. How's things going? And ask for referrals because you'll get them if they're happy.
That's good.
Not wrong, fix it.
Well, we got one. I had a guy that called me, said the floor's buckled, and Adam was a partner on that one, and we go out and fix it. What do you do? In other words, you made profit selling it to the guy. You need to be decent, and if something comes up,
it's your reputation. Paul talks about that stuff too. I mean, Paul would definitely agree with you about what you said about going out there and fixing it.
Yeah.
He talks about your brand. I mean, people are going to talk about, if you did a good job, you did the right thing by them. That's going to get around, and you will, like you said, the referral.
Yeah, every once in a while you're going to get something like that that hits you, and you just suck it up and you go out and fix it. So, all right, Andrea. Sir, tell Sharon we thank her.
You got it.
Next week.
She's taking the month of July off, and I told her, God bless you, enjoy some time with your little boys. She's got young boys. I said, take the month of July off, take them to the beach, and she'll be back with us in August.
Yeah. She has young boys. I thought she was like 50.
She's got young kids. Remember, this is the second husband, so they didn't have kids. Her first husband, so.
What do we got next week?
I think we're open next week, but we do have an interesting guest speaker coming soon in July. We have, I don't have his name right to my hand, but he's a specialist in doing bookkeeping for real estate investors. And that's, guys, that's one of the areas that we really want to work on. We were talking about, areas of education, and one of the areas we want to work in is business skill building.
Sure. Well, we had Kathy Carter, who's Michelle Moore's friend.
Yeah.
We met with her yesterday, and I don't know if you remember. You do. I know you remember.
I do. She's a specialist in the divorce stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but she is actually one of her subjects is, and we ventured down this path before, is basically financial management for agents and people in sales.
That's cool.
We had our friends from Utah before. They were doing the same thing. Did you remember that?
Yeah, I do. In fact, yeah, absolutely.
That's what Kathy's talking about. And a lot of people in this business tend to be pretty loose around the edges sometimes. They're good with drive, and they're not always good with detail.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to be all things to to everyone. You know, that's why we need each other. That's why the partnerships and getting assistance from other people, education from each other. Really hard to be a master of all things. I mean, I just don't even know that it's possible, to be honest with you.
Well, we're still hopefully set for an August pre-launch. So, Andrea, thank you.
Yeah, guys, I enjoyed this. This was really nice. I wish you the best. I heard it was raining there. God knows we've had our share of rain yesterday. It was pretty rough. So
it's sunny now. I enjoy these. We're gonna talk shop for a while.
Okay.
We're gonna go over some business deals we've got on the table. But
all right, I'm on the other hand, I'm gonna go crack open a beer. So you guys have a good evening.
All right. Thanks. Well, good. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.